I'm hoping that there'll be a greater enunciation of what exactly the structural reforms are that China refers to quite often. As you know, China chairs the G20 at the moment and recently emphasized the importance of this new phase that China is going in as it enters the next 5-year plan. So the last 5 years has been quite spectacular growth, 7.8% in China, but the economy has reached certain imbalances and certain vulnerabilities. So I'm hoping that there'll be a greater clarity about what those structural changes are and what the path is towards further liberalizing and opening up the Chinese economy.
The new development bank was launched in Shanghai last year. It is a multilateral lender set up by the BRICS countries as an alternative to the Western-dominated institutions such as the World Bank and the IMF. What has been the work progress so far?
I think firstly, although we were set up against a backdrop of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa wanting greater voice for emerging markets in the multilateral development space, the reality is that we are not trying to build a rival institution. We are an addition to the world of development finance, but we will work in a complementary fashion with all of these institutions. So over the last 8 months, we have made great progress. Firstly, we have signed what's called a host country agreement, which is essentially an agreement between the government of China and the bank about the rights, privileges, immunities, which recognizes our status as a multilateral and international organization. That's firstly. Secondly, we have a paid-in capital. It's always important as a bank to get your capital in. Thirdly, the bank has started hiring full-time staff. And then fourthly, we've also announced that we will issue our first bond. So we will start with our funding strategy within the next few months. So quite a few positive, significant achievements, I should say, within the last 8 months.
In February, the NDB said that the first batch of loans will be approved in the next quarter and most likely be for green projects. Can you give us an update?
Most banks, most institutions today look at sustainability as an important additional variable as they implement large projects. In our case, we start the design of our projects with sustainability at the front and center of design. So we aim to announce our first projects within the next 2 months, so in the second quarter of this year, and it will involve a project in each of the 5 countries. And all of these projects will have very strong green and clean energy or clean technologies associated with it, and therefore we've decided to issue what's called a green bond, which is essentially a normal bond, but we give the undertaking that we will devote all of the proceeds to environmental friendly projects. I think that it varies in each of the different regions, right? So the needs of China is very different to that of Africa, very different to that of Brazil. However, there are a few common areas. We believe that energy, and clean energy in particular, is one of the sectors that can have the highest multiplier positive economic effect. So clean energy and renewable energy in particular, focus on solar projects, so focus on wind and so on, constitutes one of the first major focus areas for the bank.